gamers. Today we're going to be doing how to play Delhi in Season 10 and 11. Now it is Season 10 now, so if something changes in Season 11 with Delhi, I will make another guide, but consider this guide good for Season 11 as well. Delhi has been more or less played same way for a couple of years now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you updated versions of the Dome of Faith build and Tower of Victory build, and I'm going to be showing you two games. One is going to be for Dome of Faith, one is going to be for Tower of Victory, and kind of explain the thought process and goals, what you're supposed to do with each one of those, and the differences between those two. The first thing you're going to do regarding build order for Delhi with Dome of Faith, I'm going to show you Dome of Faith build first, and we're playing as Order of the Dragon. You're going to send 5 villagers on the wood, the nearest wood usually to the berries, but it doesn't matter which one you go for. You want to gather 50 wood. With the 6th villager, you will build mosque and a house, and then when these guys either drop off wood or when they have 10 wood gathered, you can just make a mill with them and they will drop off the wood on the mill and then proceed to the berries. You want to rally the first villager to the berries, so you have a total of 7 workers right now going to the berries, and then you will go on gold. So you can see they have wood right now, and when they construct a mill, they will drop off that wood right there, and they will go on the berries. The moment mosques finishes, you go efficient production into piety, and you go wheelbarrow into survival technique. So you can see I have 7 villagers right here on the food. Then you're going to go 2 on gold, and then you're going to go 8th villager on the berries too, and then you rally onto the sheep. So I'm gonna speed up. So you can see 2 on gold, then we rally another one on berries, so you will have 8 on berries total. 2 on gold, and now we rally onto the sheep and we wait for the age up. Now what I like to do is I like to age up with the berry villagers so that they don't have to move a lot, because if we age up with these villagers, then these guys would have to go on wood, so they gotta run. This way, if you age up with these guys can just go on wood immediately. So I'm gonna speed up, and here we go. We can start the age up, and we age up with 4. Now, we're going to go Dome of Faith in this game. Next game, like I said, I will be showing you Tower of Victory build. The moment you start aging up, you should have 4 on food, which are these guys right here. When these guys finish building the landmark, they go back on the berries. And the moment you start aging up, you will put another villager on gold. This is because you need 3 villagers for Dome of Faith constant production. So just send another guy right there to be able to gather the gold and have enough. And now the rest of the villagers that were on sheep will go onto the wood. So you want to basically rally onto the wood because you're going to need to build blacksmith, production buildings, and just units in general. We're building a lumber camp. We're going to build another house in a second as well. And the age up is completed. Now, the moment you age up, this is very important with Delhi. This is, in my opinion, the hardest part about Delhi is hitting your, or one of the hardest part about Delhi is hitting your all the upgrades in time, especially in Castle or Imperial. But in Feudal, the moment you age up, what you want to do is queue up a Scholar from Dome of Faith, rally it into the Mosque. You can already pre-rally that. You want to cancel Piety here, and queue up Sanctity into Piety PD, I don't know pronounce this, into All-Seeing Eye. So that's the order you want to do that. You want to queue up Specialized Pick, you want to queue up Double Broadaxe, and then Forestry. And then last but not least, you want to either remove survival techniques or just never queue it up in the first place. So you want to go wheelbarrow into pro scouts, into survival techniques, into horticulture. So that is the order of the upgrades. So this is what that looks like in real time. Boom, boom, boom. You're just adding one thing at a time. We already queued up here. We got the upgrades queued up, and we're producing scholars. Now, the first building we're going to be making with Dome of Faith is going to be Ghazi Raiders. Now, if you're playing, whatever civ you're playing against, Ghazi Raiders is the way to go. There's no situation where you don't go Ghazi Raiders. Even against Knight civs, you will go Ghazi Raiders. Now, what is the thought process behind that? If you're playing against a Knight civ, you might think, oh, I need to make a Spearman. But if you go Spearman, you kind of lock yourself into Infantry and your army is going to be very slow. So what you want to do is go Ghazi and immediately put a Scholar inside the stable and produce a lot of Ghazi Raiders, and then attack the Knights if they're coming. And basically try not to lose your Ghazi Raiders, but instead when they're low health, you send them back and you heal them up. And then the Knights cannot heal, so you're doing permanent damage to his army while yours can be healed. So we're building a little stable here. I noticed that my opponent is going for 2 town center, so I'm speed building this stable a little bit because I want to be able to prevent that. We have 8 villagers on wood. Now we want to go up until 14 on food, and then we re-rally on wood. So basically, the goal is 8 on wood, 3 on gold, then you rally onto the food until you have 14, and then back on wood because we want to make an archer range and we want to make a blacksmith too. So we're producing scholars still, making a house, and now we rally Ghazi Raiders forward. I scouted my opponent wants to make a town center right here. So I managed to cancel it out, and this is one very good thing about Ghazi Raiders, is because you can produce them super quickly. Behind this, now there's 2 options. With the next 150 wood that you have after stables, you can either go for an archer range, or you can go for a blacksmith. Now in this game, he doesn't have any spearmen. There's nothing for me to archer, basically to use archers against, so I went blacksmith. If my opponent already had spearmen out, I would go for archer range, and I would put scholar inside there too to be able to produce them quickly. Now, if you're playing against a knight civ, what you want to do is constantly produce Ghazis and then go into barracks, okay? Because the more knights that the opponent has, the knights will be able to beat out Ghazi Raiders. So you kind of want to set the tempo with Ghazis, but eventually you do want to get spearmen and then blacksmiths and archers and so on and so forth. So Delhi is all about map control and keeping map control as much as possible because you need to control sacred sites. So I'm doing some harassment here. I managed to kill a villager. So already this game is looking pretty good. He's got a tower in gold. And the good thing about Delhi compared to a lot of the other civs, you don't need to worry about taking damage on your units. You don't need to worry about getting low HP with your units because you can just heal them. Now, when Sanctity is about 30 seconds away from completing, which is the upgrade that allows you to capture sacred sites, you want to start moving your scholars to the sacred site. So you can see I took out the scholars. I'm sending 1 to the top, 1 to the middle, and 1 to the bottom. Now, if you're playing against a knight civ, I would suggest, or opponent has cavalry, you should take 1 sacred site at the time. But because my opponent is playing defensive and I have full map control, I can just go for all 3 at the same time. I'm getting my blacksmith upgrades as well, and with Dome of Faith you're going to be able to get those upgrades super quickly once you capture those sacred sites. And yeah, now here I wanted to actually go for an age up, but I think I changed my mind. I put some more guys on gold because I wanted to go for the age up, but I changed my mind quickly, so ignore that. So now the goal is, whether you're playing against a 2T civ or someone is being aggressive, you will full produce units. And if you can hold the sacred sites, you will have very good income that will not only allow you to age up, but you can also use the gold to buy food and wood if you want to commit to all-inning in Feudal Age. Now, one thing that's important is with Delhi, the moment you have control of like 1, 2, or 3 sacred sites, you can pull off of the gold and you can just produce scholars from Dome of Faith with the gold you receive from sacred sites. Also, something that you might have noticed when you watch pro games with Delhi, people don't actually age up by gathering gold on the gold vein. They age up with the gold from the sacred sites, which is why it's so important to control those sacred sites, because you can put a lot more workers on food and wood to produce even more units and kind of get yourself further ahead. Now, as professional scouting is nearing completion, so maybe not now, but in about 30-40 seconds, you want to make, I would say 3-4 scouts is more than fine. And you can see I'm already doing it a little bit earlier. But you want to get 3-4 scouts so that you can just queue up all the deer on your side and maybe opponent's side of the map and just get that safe food. Now, if you don't have the APM or multitasking, you don't need to do this. You can just continue making units, but it will just make it so that you will get a lot of food back home. If you don't have map control, instead of sending villagers like this on berries, what you can do is, to be safer, you can take 5 villagers, make 1 tower, and then basically have tower plus mill plus 5 villagers on each one of these berry patches to make sure you don't get raided to death. Now, I'm still full producing units. You can see my gold income is just from the sacred sites, and now I have 2 options. Option number 1 is to full all in, which would involve me getting rams and just completely committing to attacking the opponent, trying to end the game. Or option number 2 is to control sacred sites and go for the age up. Now, both of those things with Delhi, no matter which city you're playing against, is viable. But if you have a good enough fleet, you can just go castle because it is a lot safer. So you can see I'm harassing here a little bit. Archers are now coming out. They're producing super fast. I have already 9 scholars, which is going to make my castle upgrade super quick. So right now what I'm doing is I'm just gathering the food. I'm getting the pro scouts, and I just moved off of wood because I want to go for an age up. So I have 29 on food right now. At the same time, I can do a little push, and again, even if you take some damage on the units, you can always heal them, so it's not a big deal. I didn't micro at all here, so I lost a Ghazi, but yeah. Now he's aging up, but I'm also going to age up in a second. Now the question is, which landmark do you go for? Well, both landmarks are completely fine. I know one of them is completely out of meta, so to say. Which is the compound of the defender. So compound of the defender will give you some imperial upgrades, and it will also allow you to produce keeps cheaper and get the upgraded allows your keeps to produce villagers. They act as town center. So that is a very nice landmark if you want to control sacred sites. So what I could have done here, I could have done either landmark because I'm in a very good spot. So what I could have done is I could have gone compound and put like 20 villagers on stone, 20 villagers here, after here, put 3 keeps, and then force my opponent into like siege wars or something like that. And then obviously I would have more villagers. So compound is sometimes good because you can come back in the villager count by having that keep upgraded allows you to produce villagers. Or you can go for House of Learning, which has, I think it's 5 or 6 unique upgrades that you cannot get anywhere else. And like I said, both of those landmarks are good. It just depends what you want to go for. So I'm going to go with House of Learning in this game. I'm still putting some pressure, idling his gold wherever I can. And now, when you age up, now this is, I would say, probably the hardest part about Delhi. The moment you age up, there's so many things you need to do, okay? So as you're aging up with Delhi to castle, what you want to do is take out all the 5 scholars and then put 1 scholar at each relic. So you can see I already have scholars at relics. There's another one here. There's one going to the bottom relic here. And there's one guy going over here. So the perfect situation is you age up and you immediately pick up all 5 relics. Now this is very hard to do because there's a lot of things usually happening on the map. You're attacking, you're harassing, but that's the ideal situation. You age up and you get all 5 relics back home. Then, if you have a lot of units, so I don't have that many units, right? But if I had 20 units, my priority is to research the veteran upgrade for the archers and the veteran upgrade for Ghazi raiders. Now this is a very, very important thing. Make sure, especially if, doesn't matter if you're attacking or defending, what I actually see a lot of players do in lower leagues, they only have these 2 production buildings and maybe a 3rd one, and they produce out of this one like crossbows without scholar inside. So they just start floating a lot of resources because nothing is coming out. They basically clog up their production with these 2 veteran upgrades, and nothing can actually be made and nothing can come out. So make sure you have at least 5-6 production buildings at this point, and then you research your upgrades in, you know, stables, archery, and barracks, but you can still constantly produce units. So that's very, very important. After that, what you want to do is queue up your blacksmith upgrades. I like to add 2nd blacksmith in castle with Dome of Faith, and you just queue up all the upgrades, and usually you want to go for the ranged upgrades first. Then obviously you want to queue up eco upgrades, a level 2 mining, level 2 fertilization, level 2 broadaxe, and then you want to get herbal medicine plus swiftness for your scholars in mosque, and you want to consistently produce scholars from Dome of Faith. You never want to stop producing scholars from Dome of Faith because you need a lot of them for Imperial Age so your upgrades finish quickly. And then in House of Learning, we have these upgrades, so it's 6 upgrades. Now, which one do you get first? So if you have like almost no units and you're going like men-at-arm crossbow, you can go for honed blades to increase the men-at-arm damage by 3. So if you're focusing on men-at-arms, go for this. If you're focusing a lot of ranged units like archers and crossbows, you can go for pikes for the extra range. If you're not really sure what to go, you can go for hearty rations. Because this is a very good upgrade economically. It's basically like a wheelbarrow on steroids, which allows you to carry more resources, so your villagers need to travel less, and then you get more income. Now, even if you're producing elephants, I don't think this upgrade is that important to get straight away, so don't get baited into getting this upgrade first, even if you're getting elephants. It's cool, but it's not that big of a deal. So I would say prioritize these 3, and then move into the last 3. These ones, I mean, your houses can garrison, which is like, all right, cool. And I think your houses gain 50% more health. Mosques heal, AoE healing for the units that are out of combat, and then elephant movement speed. So those 3 are pretty low on prio, these 3 pretty high on prio. So once you've queued up all your upgrades, what is your next goal? Well, securing the relics. Well, you want to start getting relics first. And you want to start making the unit comp that you need. So if the opponent has a lot of knights, you can go for elephants or spearmen and crossbows. If your opponent has a lot of archers, you can produce knights or men-at-arms or elephants. So you always want to match at this point what your opponent is doing, or you can also just continue Ghazi plus archer comp, but you usually want to mix in some gold units because you're about to have a crap ton of gold, especially if you're controlling sacred sites. So again, at this point, now that I've done all this, I have 2 options again. Am I going to try for the Sacred Site victory, or am I going to end the game? Sacred Site victory is always the safer option, right? Because all-inning sometimes might not work, the opponent might defend super well. But the whole point of this is to force your opponent to camp out on the map. And if you're someone that hates playing against players that are just camping in their base, Delhi is very good against that because you basically force your opponent to come out, or you just win the game with Sacred Sites. And you can see Sacred Sites is down to 5 minutes. He's trying to decap, but I do send a Ghazi to defend that. I'm trying to do some harassment over here, and his food income is pretty bad right now. He's transitioning to food. Meanwhile, because I have the map control, I made another mosque for more scholars. And you can see so many of my upgrades are already done. So right now my goal is to just keep producing units, and if he tries to decap the sacred site, I can just kill his whole army, and it doesn't really matter. The Springle Tower finishes here unlucky. He tries to decap again, and now I am producing full knight plus crossbow because I have so much gold income. 1.1k gold with 8 villagers only, because I got all 5 relics and I got 3 sacred sites. Now what I'm gonna do, sacred site wind is approaching, so I say, okay, let's just start walling off with the units. Make sure that his units are not sneaking in to try to decap. I'll wall off the whole map. And at this point, I'm just full on committing to sacred site victory, and look at that unit count. The supply is 154 versus 84, which is kind of Delhi's specialty. Because you don't have to spend gold or resources and upgrades, you can have way more units than your opponent. And if you look, I'm almost pop capped. My army is insane, and this is my opponent's army. I mean, it is an OTD army, but yeah. So he tries to push. You can even take scholars like this if you're close to sacred site victory, because it's a great way to push off your opponent from sacred sites. But yeah, he ends up tapping out because I just have too many units. And I think this guy was like 1,800 or something like that elo with like 85% win rate. So there it is. OTD, not too good. Now if he was making like men at arms or something, I know a lot of people in lower leagues struggle against men-at-arms, so they're like, yo, what do you do if they produce men-at-arms? You just make Archer Ghazi. They're both pretty good against it. So next game we'll be discussing is going to be the Tower of Victory game. Now I have two games again with Tower of Victory. One was against JD, the other one against Knight Templar. I know Knight Templar is a lot more popular civ in lower leagues than JD, so I'll choose to show you guys this game. Now, Dome of Faith, I would say, is more all-around better strategy, and it can be played against any civ, in any situation, on any map, okay? So when do you go Tower of Victory? That's the question. Now, we're gonna start with the same build, right? We're gonna go for the mosque, we're gonna go for the house, we're gonna go for the mill. So same thing, same opening. So, in my opinion, Tower of Victory is, I don't know if it's better. Tower of Victory is playable or good when you know that your opponent is going to stay in a feudal for a long time, or you want to force your opponent to fight in feudal. So if you're fighting against French or JD, Tower of Victory is completely okay to do because neither of those civs are looking to age up super quick. So any civilization that wants to fight in feudal, I think you can go Tower of Victory, and I think especially against knight civs, because your spearmen and your archers are going to get attack speed, you can do that, okay? Now, Tower of Victory is usually more all-in because you don't have scholars. So if you age up to castle, your upgrades are going to be very, very slow compared to Dome of Faith. But what you do have is a unique buff, which is all your infantry gains attack speed. I think it's 15 or 20%. I can't remember. I know it says 20, but I think it's not actually giving 20. It's giving less. And I can't remember the exact amount. So it's a trade-off. In theory, Tower of Victory is better in Imperial once you have all the upgrades, but all the way until you have all the upgrades, Dome of Faith is overall considered a better landmark. Now, the difference between this build and the last build is we're going to go, so we chop the tree, we do the same thing, we go 7 on food, and then we go 3 on gold. So not 2, but we go 3 on gold with Tower of Victory. And then we go 8 on food, we rally onto the sheep, and then we age up. Why are we going 3 on gold? Because we don't have Dome of Faith, we're going Tower of Victory. So what we need to do is produce another scholar, which costs 135 gold, just to be able to upgrade stuff a little bit quicker. So we're only going to be on 2 scholars for a while. So you can see 135 gold. We cancel this upgrade for a bit, we get another scholar from the mosque, and we pull off of the gold. So this is how Tower of Victory was always played. You basically get 1 extra scholar. You can go for second or third, technically, scholar as well, but most of the time you want to go for 2, and you want to put pressure immediately on your opponent. As you age up, the upgrade order, everything is the same. You go double broadaxe, you're gonna get Sanctity into Piety PT, into All-Seeing Eye, and Specialized Pick. Now the one difference is, because you don't have Dome of Faith, your Pro Scout's upgrade is actually very, very long. All your upgrades are gonna take longer to complete. So if you're doing Tower of Victory, I would not suggest to do Professional Scouts because it's 4 minutes and 35 seconds with 2 scholars in mosque, so it's very, very long. So what I would suggest you to do with Tower of Victory, you do wheelbarrow, then horticulture, then survival techniques for later on, and then pro scouts just to have it in the end. So all your units now, or infantry, sorry, including spearmen, men-at-arms, archers, crossbows, hand cannoneers, get 20% attack speed. So what do you make here? Well, someone asked me when I was doing this build, do you ever go Ghazi with Tower of Victory? You can go Ghazi, even though Ghazi will not benefit from Tower of Victory, you can go Ghazi into archers, and that way your archers still get attack speed. But I personally like Tower of Victory against Knight civs, or maybe even like a civ like OTD, because you will have a lot more DPS in your army with spearmen and archers, so you kind of get a lot of value there. Now, this game, because I'm not opening Ghazi, and because my opponent is going second town center, which I saw, I say, okay, well, if I make a barracks or an archer range now, I can't really put any pressure. Like, I can't really kill anything. So instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go Blacksmith and just start getting those upgrades because they are going to take a very, very long time. Now, this game specifically, so usually I would now make a barracks, I would now make an archer range and start producing units. This game, because my opponent is going 2TC, I just decided to go double Blacksmith so that I can get siege engineering as well. So there it is. I'm going to get siege engineering, steel arrow, and I wanted to potentially do super fast rams in case he was being greedy and trying to go castle or something, but he wasn't. He was making units. So now my spearmen get 20% attack speed and my archers in a second, and you can see the worker split right now. I have a lot of workers on wood because I need a lot of workers for archers, for spearmen, maybe walling off sacred sites or something like that, and more production because we have less scholars right now. So we can't just put scholars in every production building to boost the production because we need scholars actually in mosque to increase the upgrade speed. Now we are going to go for the sacred sites, and obviously you cannot capture all 3, you can capture only 2. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just do that. Now Tower Victory is, like I said, more for all-in type situation for you to like fully commit to an all-in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wall up this sacred site and then not wall the other 2 and just kind of commit pushing here. So if my opponent ever tries to decap, my army is right there. Now, if you're playing Delhi, you can't just wall off all 3 sacred sites if you don't want to pay attention and if you don't want your opponent to wall them off, or sorry, decap them, you can just wall them off. That is completely okay. So we're going to capture that, and we're going to send this guy back home in mosque. We capture this one. This guy's going to capture the other one too. Now, 2 things you can do with gold. So you might be wondering, what do you do because you don't have Dome of Fate, so you can't produce scholars? Well, I like to usually produce maybe 1 or 2 or 3 extra scholars with the gold, but you can also skip that and you can make a market and just buy food and wood and then even have more units on the field. So you're just fully committing to crap ton of units, right? So you can see here, I'm making 2 extra scholars. I'm making a market as well. So now with all the gold that I'm getting, which is going to be a lot of gold, 350 gold a minute, I can use it to purchase food and wood so I can produce even more units. So now my whole plan is to fully commit and all into the town center. I have all 3 sacred sites, and right now you can already see I have way more army than my opponent. I have the attack speed upgrade 137 versus 162, so the archers have a lot more DPS. And right now I can start making rams and I can start going for it. So if we ever get into this kind of situation where it's archer versus archer, my archers are just a lot stronger because of the attack speed. So if he wants to fight like this, I'm like, yeah, sure, let's do that. The rams are coming out, and again, all the workers are food and wood. I'm using gold to buy resources too, so we can produce even more. And from this point on, you can see the unit production is very strong. Now he's trying to age up, but I managed to deny the gold, so he couldn't, and now his economy is in a pretty bad state. You can see a lot of villagers are idle, a lot of villagers are running around. The TC is gonna go down, and the whole game is in shambles. Now, because I am all-inning, I have the full map control, the sacred sites are taken too, so even if I don't kill him now, I have 6 minutes, so I can just commit to defending the sacred site at this point and try to end the game that way. And you can see, I have 76 units at 14 minutes with all the upgrades, with sacred sites, and I lost a bunch of units, so I would have probably had about 100 units at this point. So I go here, because I noticed there's a gold, I try to harass, he's running away, and you can see he's kind of buying time, trying not to die, and then I realize, wait a minute, he's playing Knights Templar. He has no more landmarks. So I just go for more rams. I have more units coming from this side. He's trying to decap the sacred site, like he's worried about that. But he should be worried about something else, because I just make a crap ton of rams. And I just decide to all in. Even if I lose the whole army, having 7 rams DPS in the TC, that's going to be a hard one to out repair. So I also managed to kill his whole army. He's trying to repair. He's trying to kill the rams at the same time. But the unit count, or sorry, the villager count is going down, and he gets landmark sniped. So again, Dome of Faith is more kind of just better all around, but you can go Tower of Victory, especially against Night Civs, or in matchups where you can just all in Feudal and stick with it. But if the game goes longer, past Imperial, like post-Imperial, once you get all the upgrades, Tower of Victory is better because you have 20% attack speed, although your scholars are going to be very, very expensive to produce. And that's pretty much it. I was thinking what other build I can do with Delhi. To be fair, castle rushing with Delhi is not that good. It's not very good to play passive with Delhi. Your whole point of the Civ is to play aggressive. I was trying 2TC Delhi in the past. It feels really good when you can do it, but at the same time, it's also a pretty big struggle to pull it off consistently. So in my opinion, this is how to play Delhi in Season 10 and 11 with both Dome of Faith and Tower of Victory. So if you're watching this on YouTube, thank you so much for watching. Check me out on Twitch, I'm probably live right now. I'll be making more guides, so if you're looking for any other Civ guides, they're probably already up on YouTube, and if they're not, they will be up very soon. That's it. Twitch gamers, let's keep going.